All rise.
This is Deeper Than Money. Talk to me. I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
If he is not going to honor you, he needs to be gone.
Compassionate.
I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I don't. And I want to figure out how we get this straight.
She's powerful.
If I were in this situation, I would have put you out too.
And she's on the bench.
I feel like I'm being judged here.
That's what I do.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Samuel Williams is suing Thomas Williams in the amount of $3,500. Mr. Williams claims he gave his son power of attorney when he was ill and says the defendant misused his money to make lavish purchases.
Hi, Mr. Williams, you're in here suing your son.
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
$3,500.
Yes, ma'am.
I hate this. I hate it. You all know I hate it when I see family members in my courtroom on opposite sides of the court. But there are times when it's necessary. So why are you suing your son?
Well, I'm suing my son because he's been taking my money to, well, fund his lifestyle with him and his girlfriend. Exactly.
What?
Well,
He's been taking your money
he's been taking my money.
to support his lifestyle with his girlfriend.
That is correct.
All right. So how do you even have access to your money, Mr. Williams?
Well, there was a time in my life where I had poor health. I was well over 400 pounds and I had a stroke and a heart attack.
Oh, my goodness.
I've since then changed my life with the help of my son, quite frankly.
Oh, good. So you supported your dad through this?
Yeah.
A stroke and a heart attack, I mean, that is super serious. Either one by itself is a major occurrence.
Yes.
You were overweight,
Yes, ma'am.
and I understand you have some pictures to show me.
I do. I have a picture to show. I've decided to change my complete life, so I submit that for your review.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my good. Look at you. You're like two different people.
My doctor said I've lost a human.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sorry it took the heart attack and stroke to get you to do this, but you got a second chance at life.
Yes, yes, and more importantly, a chance to really build a bond with my son.
So to build a bond, was there not a bond between you and your son?
Unfortunately, there wasn't.
Why? Why?
His mother
Mr.
and I just were dating casually, and I went on about my life and living it and enjoying it, and she went on about hers, and one day I received a phone call that said, you have a son in the world.
How old was he when you got that call?
About 16 or 17.
Oh my goodness. So for the first 16 years or so of his life, you didn't know you had a son.
No idea.
So what did your mother tell you about your father?
Well, she basically said she gave him a few calls. She called him here and there. He'll ignore her calls, or he'll just answer and tell her stop calling.
Did you do that?
That's not true, Your Honor. What happened was, as most adults do, I went and lived my life, had a great prosperous career, really just trying to take care of myself the best I could, and then one day I received a phone call out of the blue from a woman that I casually dated, and I had a son in the world. But as soon as that happened, I stepped up. I made sure that he had everything he needed in his life, made sure they had a car, went to college, and had support throughout all these years.
So once he said he found out, he says he really stepped up. He doesn't strike me, Thomas, as somebody who would just ignore you.
That's
You're
true,
shaking your head and you're saying, talk to me, talk to me.
He came back into my life, but you know, he'll buy me things here and there, but he never really spent time with me. You know, so that, you know, buying my love is not gonna do anything. You know,
So
I
the
want
car
him here.
doesn't make up for the time.
Right.
So why didn't you all spend time together?
Because he's living this playboy life. He wants to be a player still. So I'm guessing he don't have time for his son.
I'm
Or his family.
assuming that you all are in different cities.
Yes.
So I get that you stepped up financially. I get that you bought a car. Get that you supported him to go to college. But what about the basic need of time?
I really wanted to spend more time with him, but I just didn't know that he was here. And to be honest with you,
But after you knew, I'm talking about, I believe you. I don't think that you ignored this child for 17 years. I don't. But I'm talking about once you knew, once you got involved, you talked about the material things that you did for him. I want to know about the emotional support, the time that you spent with him. You hear what I'm hearing? You hear what I'm saying?
I do. And it's a little tough because, well, quite frankly, he wasn't always accessible, so I've done most of the work trying to build this bond, this relationship. But you know, life is a two-way street. And to be very honest with you, you can't turn the hands of time back, right? I can't burp him when he was a baby. And at some point, we have to mature, step up, and move forward in our life. And that's what I've been trying to teach him through my example. You know, no matter what the past was, be there and try to be a better person forward. So as much time as we can spend together, I've tried, and I've bent myself backwards to try to be there as much as possible.
Okay, so Thomas, did you resent the fact that he wasn't there for the first part of your life?
Yes.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
I thought that he was going to take care of the household. No. He's spending money on his life for his girlfriend and a child that's not his.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Samuel Williams, who is suing his son, Thomas Williams, for theft.
And so, did you put up a wall emotionally when he was trying to reach out to you?
Well, Your Honor, he's a stranger, so I can't really fully accept him into my life as my father if you haven't been there, the other half.
I'll get it. So now he gets sick. And we're talking about seriously sick. We're talking about a stroke and a heart attack. And what happened?
He called me out of the blue. You know, we were texting here and there prior. And then he called me while he was at the hospital and was like, son, I need you. You know, I rejected it at first. And I was like, you know what? Maybe this might be my chance to, you know, really try to build
a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Too bad it was under a crisis situation, but, you know, things happen in our lives that we don't always understand. And maybe that was a way of opening the door for you all to get together. So you at first were like, no, but now you decide, okay, he needs me, and then what happens?
I stopped everything I was doing.
What were you doing at the time? Were you working?
Yes, I was an Uber driver.
Okay.
And I also, you know, was a substitute teacher.
I have to interrupt this. My son isn't telling the whole truth.
Well, tell me.
Well, he wasn't living his life honorably. He was running around here in the streets. He was doing side jobs. He said he wanted to be a substitute teacher, and I found out that he never took the test to even pass any of the qualifications. So
is that true?
I did finish the class. I finished the course, but
that's why it was more important for him to come and help me get back to full health and recovery, and I could show him how to be a real man. I mean, that's really what he's been lacking in his life, real understanding what it takes to be a man.
So you ask for his help, and what happens?
He shows up half-heartedly, but he does show up.
But he did show up now.
But he did show up.
Okay, all right, he did show up.
Yes. So I'm in my bed. I need help. He's helping me in and out the bed to take showers. I hate to admit it, but helping me take care of my personal needs as far as, you know, bathing and clothing and all that.
You were sick.
I was really sick, you know, and if it wasn't for my son, I don't know if I would have made it, to be honest with you. But
wait. Let's not skip over that. Did you hear what your dad just said?
Yes.
He said, had it not been for you, he's not sure he would have made it. That's huge.
Right.
So he's there helping you, but yet you're in my courtroom suing him. What in the world happened?
Well, unfortunately, back to the mistrust and not understanding what my son's intentions truly are, I found out that I needed to give him more authority in my life to take care of my bills, the mortgage, the household needs.
So that's where I understand from the complaint that you actually gave him a power of attorney.
Yes, ma'am. I gave him
because you weren't in a situation to manage those bills and those day-to-day kind of things.
I couldn't make any decisions for myself.
Okay. All right. So you
I trusted my son, and I gave him power of attorney over my finances and authority over my life.
So you had access to all of his bank accounts, all of his finances, savings, investments, checking, everything. Yes. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, but something happened, otherwise you wouldn't be in here. So what happened?
This young man decided to, well, live a lifestyle that he couldn't afford.
What do you mean? Tell me what that means.
Well, what that means is he has a nice, pretty girlfriend with a son, and he decided to be Captain Save-Em-All. So he's paying out money for daycare and shoes, taking her out to lobster dinners, and the little baby got on these cute shoes and all that. And look how we live in our lifestyle. All the meanwhile, I said, well, something don't sound right. My son worked for me and he don't have a job. So I looked at my bank account and I started to see all kinds of new charges showing up in my transaction history.
Let me see. You have that as evidence, I understand.
Yes, I do. I actually have a few months of that. Here's
Please show that to me.
and here's the next one as well.
Ooh.
I've highlighted them as well so you can see.
Oh my goodness.
Now, our agreement when he came to help me.
That was going to be my next question. What was the agreement that you had with your son? Because you've given him a lot of authority. Power of attorney means that he can act legally in your place,
True.
in your stead.
There also has to be self-responsibility and common sense.
Oh no, that's very true.
So with my son, I thought that he was going to take care of the household, make sure I'm taken care of and everything's good.
And
No. He's spending money on his life for his girlfriend and a child that's not his.
All right, Thomas, so now you have authority over your father's finances.
Right.
But now I'm seeing all of these charges that don't have anything to do with your dad. So
Okay.
help me understand this, please.
He gave me the power of attorney, access to I pay all the bills.
Right.
I take care of all his finances, but I spend roughly about $2,500 a month. But all these expenses that he's counting for, they're for my girl's, son that he doesn't even like. So
Well,
that's
it's
only-
not a question of whether he likes him or not. I'm just trying to understand why you're spending your father's money on your girlfriend and her son.
'Cause he gave me permission.
Oh, what? He
gave me
what?
permission.
He
He
gave
gave
you
me-
permission
Yeah.
to spend this. I'm looking at these. I'm looking at these statements. He gave you permission to do this?
Yes.
You're telling me under oath that your father gave you permission to do these kinds of things for your girlfriend and her child?
He gives me a certain amount of money that I use for my essentials every month. So I use that money to, help her out sometimes.
Coming up,
That's not what these lines say. They say expenses such as haircuts or things you need for your personal needs.
But you didn't care when I bought the diamond ring for it.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Samuel Williams, who is suing his son, Thomas Williams, for theft.
Does he get an allowance a month?
So he gets a certain amount of money every month, but the money is to be used responsibly for his well-being. We did come up with a budget. None of those budget lines say girlfriend and little son. That's not what these lines say. They say expenses such as haircuts or things you need for your personal needs.
But you didn't care when I bought the diamond ring for it, or the earrings, or the little Coach purse. You were aware of it. So now all of a sudden you're tripping off me.
So
paying
you
for little
bought her
things.
a Coach purse, diamond earrings, and what else did you just say?
A Michael Kors watch, and a little necklace and stuff.
So really, there's more than the $3,500.
Well, that I can find. Again, at this point,
All
I
right,
just
so
want to
let's
stop.
get to the bottom line of this. Does he have a budget that you give him monthly that he has discretion to spend? Yes or no?
Yes.
And how much is that?
$2,500 a month.
$2,500 a month. All right, and he can spend that on anything he wants?
Yes, but common sense says not to go and spend the money that I give you for your girlfriend and his kid like you some little boy out here trying to take care of everybody. And he has a bleeding heart. And now it's just escalated to this point where he's just buying her fancy things and taking care. I mean, we have a child care line for a child that he doesn't have. That's not his DNA.
If he has a discretionary budget every month and you have not put in writing what he can spend it on, then he can spend it on whatever the hell he wants to spend it on.
Coming up,
Now, if he's gonna go out here and spend all this money on a girlfriend and her child and neglect his own needs, then he's a fool. You're a fool.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Samuel Williams, who is suing his son, Thomas Williams, for theft.
unless you say, I don't want you to spend this money on anything but you. But what happens is that he has access to all your credit cards, your checking account, your debit cards, everything. So either there is a check that is written to him every month for $2,500, and you let him do what he wants to do, or you say in writing, you can only do X, Y, and Z. Because if you are saying that you're teaching him how to be a man, and you're going to give him the responsibility not only over your finances, he needs to have responsibility over his own. Now, if he's going to go out here and spend all this money on a girlfriend and her child and neglect his own needs, then he's a fool. You're a fool. You're a fool to do that. But you can't have it both ways. You can't say, I give him this money, but then I don't like the way he spends this money. Either you need to reduce the amount of money you're giving him to take care of you, or you need to be very clear. But you can't have it both ways. You can't give him a $2,500 and then say, I don't want you to take your girlfriend out to dinner. I don't want you to buy the baby shoes. I don't want the baby to do this or that or the other. I don't want you to pay for childcare. If you are seeing him as a man and giving him this responsibility, then you also need to let him make these choices. Now, do I think that these are wise choices? No, I do not. I do not. Do you have a savings account? Probably not.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
Before I say anything else to you, let me say to you, Thomas, and I want you to hear me clearly, I appreciate the fact that you stepped in when your father desperately needed you. But for you all to be on opposite sides of my courtroom today doesn't make any sense to me. It does not. Mr. Williams, it does not.
I agree with you.
You said you created a monster here, in a sense. I'm just telling you. Right? And it's complicated because then you also are trying to make up for lost years, and I hope you heard what you said, that you can't fix those years. But you surely can fix this now. Mr. Williams, I'm not gonna award you the $3,500. We've got bigger fish to fry than the $3,500 today. I want you all to go out, I want you to sit down, I want you to work on the budget, I want you to understand clearly what this allowance is going to be, but we need a plan.
I agree.
You know, and y'all going to sit down and work out this plan for this finance. Is it going to still be $2,500 a month? What are the expectations? He's a young man. If he wants to take his girlfriend out to dinner, then so be it.
Thank you so much.
We'll stand adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been denied.
Much, and I really just want the best for you. But I do need you to be more responsible with your money, not just for me, but for your own future.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love you.
I love you too, son.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.